I don't know, in some sense, in a very comfortable zone there. The best players head to the best leagues, generally. Not always. There's always an anomaly somewhere, some outlier who'll just stay. But generally, the best players, the best French players, have always gravitated. You know, Platini to Italy, Zidane to Italy and Spain, Benzema. I mean, the list goes on, and can go back years. Because they are the best leagues, and that's where they go and they test themselves and they push themselves. So I'm kind of disappointed in a way from that perspective, that it just seems, as the guy said, it can't all have been about money, I would like to think. But I don't know, he's done what he's done in France, and what else is he to do in France? Right. He's won League on. They haven't won, there's no project there because Messi... What?
No, I was just going to say, in terms of the World Cup in Doha, there is another theory being floated out there, which is quite simply, he wants to win another World Cup. He wants to win that World Cup in Doha. And, you know, the nice thing about staying at Paris Saint-Germain is that really, until December, it's fairly low-key, right? You got some Champions League group games, and pretty much that's it. You don't have the stress, the goldfish bowl of being at the Bernabeu with all the media attention and everything that brings, and the early judgments and so on. So if somehow he is prioritizing the World Cup, and some people have suggested this, then in some ways this makes a lot of sense, because Paris Saint-Germain's tough games will come in the knockout stages, and that's going to be after the World Cup, and then maybe a year from now you reevaluate. That's the only other thing that, you know, I can think of from a sporting side to help explain this.
I got a feeling, Dan. I got a feeling when I'm a 90s footballer from England. I got that Alan Shearer feeling when he went from Blackburn to Newcastle. He had the offer to go to Manchester United. He knew that he will win a lot of titles there, but there were other reasons. He wanted to come home. He wanted to be a boyhood. Where he wanted to have that number 9 shirt and everything. So maybe, and I think that is the maybe thing we don't know a lot about, how attached he is to Paris, how he is attached to his neighborhood, he's attached to his family and friends and all that, and maybe try to explain some of this, because all the others, we would have said yes to Real Madrid when you see it from a sport perspective.
Why is it taking so long to make this decision, though? Because if it's not about money, why is it taking so long?
Right.
Could have wrapped this up a while ago. PSG could have stopped sweating on it. Real Madrid could have looked at other irons in the fire, which I'm hoping they still have, because that's what every good club should do, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. But it seems like they put a hell of a lot of eggs in this particular basket. Yeah. But, you know, why it's a bit of a head scratcher why he's leaving it as long as he is, and you know, and I don't know if a player thinks that way about, you know, when you're coming up to a World Cup, what my league games are going to be, because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you could break a leg first game of the season, nothing to do with you, and all of a sudden you're out for a year. So I just find it a little strange, and also I just don't see a project anymore at PSG. I see a bits and bobs club who are you know, floating from one season to another. The Lionel Messi thing, and we talked about it with Kay on yesterday's show. Lionel Messi's at best 12 months away from taking a long time holiday over here in Miami. And I think we've seen from this season, maybe not all through fault of his own, he's definitely scaling down. His performances are not the same. He's had injuries. I don't think the desire's quite there. Mother Nature's taken its course for him. It does for everybody. And he's already talking about other avenues, particularly here in America. So that's not really a project for Kylian Mbappe, just to stay there for another 12 months, 18 months to play with Lionel Messi. It's not Lionel Messi that was driving the Pep Guardiola side of 2011 and 12 and whatever. So, yeah, it's I'm sure pleasing for the French public, those that support Paris Saint-Germain. But as I say, until the Champions League comes round, nobody will really bat an eyelid about what Kylian Mbappe's doing. And clearly he's not fussed about that.
Gab, obviously, we've heard the likes of Unai Emery, Thomas Tuchel talking about the power that players have at that club. And it seems like they're just completely now doubling down on that, in that Mbappe reportedly will have a say on who will come in, who will be the new coach, who will replace Leonardo because he doesn't get on with him. It's just going to be the Mbappe show.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that. I've seen those reports too, that he's been handed, he's going to choose the new director of football and choose the new manager and make the lineup and design the uniform and the club anthem, and they'll rename the state. I just don't. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think that's credible. Will they consult him? Of course, I'm sure they will consult him. But that's why it's also difficult to accept. I mean, Craig touched upon this. The idea that he's staying at Paris Saint-Germain for the project. I mean, if it's for the project, then you don't commit for 3 years. You commit for 5 years if you believe that there's a project there. But of course, there is no project because you don't have a manager for next season. I mean, I'll be shocked if Pochettino is still there this time next week. You probably don't have a director of football, but again, I'll be shocked if Leonardo's still around. So you have to hire 2 key figures. We've had the Messi situation we've touched upon. We've had the Neymar situation we've touched upon. And by the way, Messi and Neymar's motivation in those league games and Champions League games leading up to the World Cup, which will, may well be their final World Cup, you would have to really, really question. So I think, arguing that it's about the project, I think it just makes you look silly. If on top of that you're going to double down and say that, they've handed they've sold the club to Mbappe and he gets to decide everything, I don't buy that for 1 second. I don't think it's that at all.
There's 2 times I want to be a fly in the wall this year.
Really?
Yeah. The first time was when Florentino Perez realised that the Super League was absolutely crumbling in front of his eyes. And the second time is when the phone rang.
Well, apparently he got a WhatsApp message from Mbappe saying, thank you, but no thank you.
Can you imagine?
Gab, has Mbappe just played a blinder here and just kind of played PSG off with Real Madrid to get the best deal?
Again, we don't know these numbers, so it's really hard to say. We don't know to what degree they're to his advantage.
Well, we know they're good numbers, Gab. We know they're sensational numbers, and we know they're better numbers than they would have been if there was just one club that had a contract on the table. Was he ever interested in Real Madrid, or was just this all hot air?
Absolutely.
Or all just the perfect kind of negotiating tool?
I think 100% he was interested in Real Madrid. I don't think there's any question. The amount of time and resources they devoted to it. And by the way, these things all happen in a vacuum. I'm sure Jan can weigh in on this, but a big part of the reason why Real Madrid didn't move aggressively for Erling Haaland this summer was because they said, all right, we can't commit this much money in one go. There was even suggestions that they tried to persuade Dortmund or Haaland to stay at Dortmund for another year, and then we'll get Mbappe this year and Haaland next year. And, they simply couldn't go for both. And now in the meantime, what's happened is Manchester City, maybe they knew something we didn't, they snuck in there right away with Haaland. He's put pen to paper. And now, of course, from Real Madrid's perspective, they're left with nothing. They're left with nothing. They're left with a team that's won La Liga and that's in the Champions League final. But, no Mbappe and no Haaland this summer. And so you have to start scrambling.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.